Good day. I am Flordeliz B. Dacuyan from the University of the Philippines, Visayas Tacloban College, Tacloban City, Leyte, Philippines. My co-author for this project is Dr. Dinah Pura Depositario of the College of Economics and Management of UP Los Baños, Laguna. There have been few studies explored on the dynamics and power asymmetries of cross-sector partnerships involving multi-stakeholders in social enterprises as a post-disaster recovery strategy. While those few investigations attempted to look into cross-sector partnerships in a post-disaster recovery context, and social enterprise as a post-disaster recovery strategy, most were conducted in industrialized countries and limited only in developing country contexts like the Philippines. Moreover, social entrepreneurship within a cross-sector partnership arrangement as a post-disaster recovery strategy to improve the disaster risk reduction and management are not that explored. This study develops a framework for understanding the dynamics and power asymmetries among macro, meso, and micro stakeholders involved in the formation, development, and sustainability of social enterprises as a post-disaster recovery strategy. While in the context of a post-disaster, these can offer insights to dealing with the catastrophic effects of the pandemic, especially to business and economy, with social enterprise at the forefront. Using an exploratory sequential mixed method design, this evaluates an international non-government organization partnering a Philippine-based non-government organization involved in disaster recovery projects and programs. The nonprofit public civil society partnerships assisted Leyte and Eastern Samar provinces, two of the most hard-hit and devastated areas in the Philippines, during the post-Typhoon Haiyan-Yolanda recovery process through the Tukod Project. Funded by the Government of Canada and implemented by SESI Concern Incorporated, the project has assisted poor men and women across 3 provinces in 8 municipalities of Leyte, namely Tacloban, Palo and Tolosa, Eastern Samar, Dolores, Taft, Canavid, and Uras, and in Western Samar, Marabot. Data for the qualitative research was gathered mainly from 40 key informant interviews and series of focus group discussions, representing perspectives from the community, network partners, and beneficiaries, representing 62 social enterprises from the 8 covered municipalities. Published and unpublished organizational documents, desktop report from the governments on the Typhoon Haiyan-Yolanda recovery efforts were also gathered. The qualitative phase, as it examines the role of cross-sector partnerships between the nonprofit public civil society sectors, proved crucial in the formation, development, and sustainability of social enterprises as a post-disaster recovery strategy at varied degree of interventions, as it is inherently framed in the recovery process, mandated by laws and existing disaster risk reduction and management frameworks. The relational dynamics and power asymmetries present within cross-sectoral partnerships have affected the Tukod project, both favorable and unfavorable, and the overall socio-economic impact of social enterprises. Cross-sector partnership input that contributes to sustainability challenge include communication, coordination, as well as leadership and governance. Adding to the list of issues that likely affect sustainability prospect are local policies, political issues, leadership and individual characteristics of key cross-sectoral players, as well as the unfavorable behavioral orientation of the community towards externally funded programs and projects. The quantitative phase evaluating how beneficiaries, who are mostly poor women, were impacted, both in economic and social aspects, showed an increased income among beneficiaries, both from operational and non-operational social enterprises. It also consistently indicated income increase among beneficiaries in urban and rural areas, as well as across the provinces of Leyte and Eastern Samar, including Western Samar, with varying income level changes. Despite being minimal and small in increase, as a business-oriented organizations, social enterprises have served the basic needs of many households recovering from a massive super typhoon devastation. The connecting phase from qualitative and quantitative phase have also determined predicting factors to having sustained social enterprises, which include demographic variables, favoring the female sex, educational attainment, total monthly income, and the income increase generated from the project grant, while profile of social enterprises indicates form of organization favoring a cooperative, local government unit registered, number of products sold and marketed, sufficiency of capital, training and education, effective relationship with the local government unit, and the perceptions and attitudes towards what a social enterprise is. Based on the analyzed qualitative and quantitative data, the research developed a concept of a social enterprise in a post-disaster environment, or what I call SEPD, which is urgently needed to expedite economic recovery and restore social life after typhoon devastation. And in this context, after post-pandemic. Formed within a post-traumatic environment and founded by an international organization, the SEPD is a vulnerable socio-economic entity at its inception and development phase, but one that inspires, motivates, and challenges to build back better after crisis. The SEPD is an evolving type of a social enterprise, basically a startup business with a social-driven mission entity. It is unique in terms of form, structure, and purpose when compared with social enterprises formed in ordinary situation. It is a profit-oriented entity which utilizes local resources with transactional purpose while transformational in consequence. The economic impact, which fundamentally emanates from a transactional domain, ultimately affects a transformational impact, which is a medium to long-term effect of the process. The majority of the social enterprises did not pass the acid test of business challenge after Sesi Concert Incorporated left Eastern Visayas region, for which most have remained at startup phase while others became non-operational. However, those few that have succeeded and evolved merits a social enterprise that can be a niche for development after disaster recovery. These require support from the government and other institutions. Amid COVID-19 pandemic, social enterprises can harness multi-stakeholder cooperation to address pressing social needs, especially in building back better our business and economic systems. Stakeholders at macro and meso levels exhibited interesting relational dynamics and power asymmetries, which impacted the social enterprise operations at various phases. Hence, these ought to be managed to effect the particular roles played by each key player. Stakeholders performed varied and significant roles and activities affecting the overall sustainability prospect of social enterprises. The local government executives, particularly the mayor and its council members, have the ultimate role to assume the responsibility left by the INGO. Social entrepreneurship champions are key players in the process, which may include different personalities from the public, private, and civil society sectors, including the academe, to ensure that there are people who will serve as glue and catalyst in the cross-sector partnerships. The alignment, harmonization, integration, and synchronization of roles, activities, and various recovery plans of cross-sectoral players must be in place through policy efforts mandated by the government. Once achieved, a sustainable social enterprise in a post-disaster environment, including a post-pandemic context, can generate productive outcomes in communities, such as business-oriented communities, community livelihood, sustainable household livelihood, increasing household income, and empowered women in resilient households. All of these will propel the community's overall economy. Thank you and have a productive day ahead.